afternoon. Hope you guys have had a good day. I've been stamping pretty much most of the day. We had some people from my Inky Fingers team come and join us, and we made 3 projects and ate some yummy food and played some fun games. So I wanted to share one of the projects with you that we did that I think everyone enjoyed, and it's actually one that uses some scrap cardboard that you might have lying around your place as well. I know I do have lots of this. I'll flip my camera around so that you can see. This paper is actually, it's actually cardstock or cardboard. It is quite good quality construction style cardboard, and you'll find this at the back of any of our designer series papers, just to sort of keep it. Vanessa Chivers is watching. Do you know what? Vanessa Chivers is actually in my craft room as we speak, and she's watching online. How cool is that? It's not often I have somebody watching live as well as being here in person. So this is, actually it's from the Stargazing, would you believe, Ness? It's from the Stargazing 12 by 12 designer series paper, and you are in fact playing with that right now. I'm not going to turn the camera around on you, don't worry, but Ness is actually playing with this designer series paper. So I've got this backing sheet, and it does have the writing on it, but I'm going to show you how we disguise that and hide it in our project, so you won't see that. But it is really nice and smooth, lovely construction quality cardstock. And if you're like me and you get lots of designer series papers, you'll have a whole heap of these. Probably stashed away somewhere, because I can't bear to throw anything out, right? We're crafters. We don't throw things out. We save them, don't we? And for a rainy day project. So this is that rainy day project that you've been waiting to use these backing sheets for. So we're starting off with a whole piece of the 12 by 12. And I'm going to be giving you the measurements. I will also write this down when I upload my video to YouTube, as I always do. I will be writing down the measurements so that you've got the visuals, the instructions, as well as my video to follow along with. And the good thing about YouTube is that you can pause it at any time to replay or pause at a point that you want to get more details from. So the only measurement you really need to know when you're constructing what I'm about to show you is the 2 centimetre measurement. So I like to be a bit clever with my maths. So I will start off doing a 2 centimetre score line, just coming in straight from the edge. And then I'm going to move it up to 4, so it's another 2 centimetres, and up to 6, another 2 centimetres, and then up to 8, which is the next 2. Then I'm going to turn it perpendicular and do the same. So as I said, the only measurement that you need to know is 2 centimetres. Now I'm using one of my old trimmers, which has a scoring tool attached to it. I often have these lying around on my table. They're just easy to grab. I don't have the blades for these anymore. But they went blunt, obviously, but these scoring attachments never go blunt because they start off blunt, right? So they're actually really handy. And when I have several people at classes, we tend to use these as well as my newer version of the Stampin' Trimmer, or the paper trimmer as it's called now. We've been through a couple of evolutions. So I'm just going in all 4 sides, 2 centimetres at a time. You'll see this grid pattern start to happen. And my last side is this one here. So I'm just going to take it to 2, 4, 6, and 8. So all 4 sides are done. So that was nice and quick. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pick a top and bottom, so it really doesn't matter which one. How about I do it with this writing up the right way, so I sort of know which way I'm oriented. I'm going to do another line now, but I'm not going to take it all the way down. I'm only going to score a line at the next 2 centimetres. So I'm going to take it to the 10 the 10 centimetre mark, and I'm scoring a line just down to that the second score line. So I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to do one at the top and one at the bottom. So take it to the 10 and then one at the top. So just going down to that, it'll be 4 centimetres actually from the top, won't it? And then down the bottom, I'm going to do another 2 centimetres from the bottom like that. So if I hold it, you'll see those two there, and then I'm going to flip it around and do the same. So again, same parallel to these ones I've already done. I'm going to take it in again at the 10 centimetre mark and just go down to the second score line across, and then up to the second score line across. So there's my 2 extra lines at the top and my 2 extra lines at the bottom. So now we need our scissors. So I'm using the paper snips, but you could use whatever scissors you have. I'm going to cut all of the squares off from the corners, and they're the bits that have the grid pattern. So you'll see 4 of these, 1 in each corner, and you just want to cut those out because they will need to be off the cardboard for us to make what we're making. So we're actually making a frame. It's a 3D shadow box type frame, and you can use this for anything. You could have any theme, and you can bulk up whatever it is that you're putting inside. You can have lots of dimension and create a 3D landscape even if you want to, because it will be a 2 centimetre deep shadow box, and it's just it makes a really, really nice frame for whatever it is you're creating. We are going to be using a particular suite. All right, so there's my 4 squares that have just come out of the corners. They're all exactly the same. But what I want to do now is with those 2 extra score lines that I've created, I actually want to cut down and at an angle. So I'm going to start off in this corner. I'm going to do exactly the same in each of them. So where I've done that extra score line just up to that second horizontal row, I'm going to take it down there, and then I'm going to cut across at a diagonal to create that shape. I'm going to do the same on all 4 of these flaps, top and bottom. So flip it around 180 and do the same down the bottom. So you're just following the score lines that you've done at the 2 centimetre marks each time. Super easy, no measuring at this point, you're just doing it by sight. So there we go, that's all ready to go. And you'll end up with something that looks like this. Okay, we'll get rid of those and we'll get rid of that. So what I would do now is I would actually use my bone folder, and you want to make all of these fold lines really distinct, and that's going to make it easier for you to put your box together. I'm using my bone folder, and I'm just going to fold in and make those fold lines really distinct. Like that. All the way in. So you're going to be folding it 4 times. Oh, and I forgot to say, you want to fold it inwards to where that printing is. And that's so that the printing will be hidden behind. We're going to stick a piece of design series paper to the inside of our box. That will become our background, basically. And it's just so that you don't have this printing on the other side of the box. It keeps it nice and clean looking and pristine. So if you're giving it away to somebody as a gift, you know, they don't turn it over and see that writing. You could stick something over it, but this kind of saves you having to do that. If you keep it on the inside, you don't have to worry about it. So we are going to stick some designer series paper. And the suite that we're using is the Earthen Elements suite. So I'll show you the stamp set and the dies and the paper in a second. All right, so we've got these ones here which fold inwards like that. I'll just fold it in without sticking for now. And these ones here that fold inwards like that. And this then becomes our frame. Okay, so we're not sticking anything together yet. We're just kind of putting it together just to see how it works. And then I've got some of that gorgeous Earthen Elements Designer Series paper. I've cut this. So your opening will be around, let me see, what does it end up being? It's going to be about 13 by 13 inside. So I've cut this Designer Series paper a little bit bigger, 14 by 14, because you'll have an extra 2 centimeters to play with. And I'm going to just put a little tiny bit of my Tombow glue underneath, and I'll stick that straight down. It's up to you whether you want to have the grain of this paper going horizontal or vertical. I'm going to stick that in there. And then I'm going to apply some glue to each of these flaps. So you want to actually apply the glue to the innermost flap, the one that's going to be against the bottom of the box, and that will hold the box together. So the first ones we're going to do are the whole ones. So you've got the bits that we cut out, so that's those bits on the side. I'm going to stick the whole ones down first, and then the smaller flaps will sort of come and hug those just to hold it together. So you just want to wrap it around. Try not to get any glue on the DSP as you're doing that. And I'll do this one as well. You just want to hold those, half a minute or so while the glue takes. The less glue you use, obviously, the shorter amount of time it will take to dry. So I'm just holding that there. And then I'm going to stick some glue just on these 2 smaller flaps here. And you saw how that came together when I did it dry. So I will do it now with the glue. And I'm going to fold them in, and you see how they come together really nicely at the corners like that. So it's actually quite a neat finish. It's the easiest way to make a shadow box, and because it's quite stiff, this cardboard, it's going to hold its shape really well. So it's strong enough to sort of hang on the wall. You could use it stand it up on the mantelpiece if you wanted to. You could put it in a bracket. And yeah, it will hold its shape really, really well. So I'm just holding that all together there. You want these corners to have no gaps. So just kind of pinch them together so that they hold without any gaps. You can always add some extra glue dots if you need to in the corners as you're finishing off. I'm going to leave that bit of glue to dry, and I'll rub that off with my adhesive remover in a little while. So there's our basic box. That's what we've ended up with. And now it's time to decorate inside. So you just want to make sure all of that's nice and tight. So I said that you'll end up with, it's actually 11 by 11. There you go. The window is 11 by 11. And what we're going to do is do some cutting with our dies. We'll do some stamping first. I've got some elements here. I've got some gold Designer Series paper. That's that specialty paper. I've got some basic white paper in a couple of sizes. This is from the Earthen Elements 12 by 12 Designer Series paper. I love this. They actually made real pottery and took a photo of it to create this paper. Isn't that gorgeous? It looks like real glaze. I love it. This was a suite that caught my eye when I first opened the catalogue. It took me a while to get it. I only got it a week or so ago, so I've been playing with it a little bit. And it's one of the suites too that we're using on our World Card Making Day coming up in October. So you can see the details on my blog, and it was in my latest newsletter. You can register for this event for free and join us for the day. It was lots of fun last year, and I think this year will also be fun. So you don't want to miss out on that. On this paper, what I will do is I will stamp in Versamark. I'm going to get my Versamark out, And I'm going to clear emboss. Because this paper is fairly matte, I want a shiny effect. So how I am going to achieve that is with some clear embossing powder. So I want to use my clear ink, the Versamark, and just really get a lot of Versamark on that stamp. You can see there's a bit of texture there already. And I want to stamp that right down straight onto that Designer Series paper. There you go. You can't really see that until I get the powder on. And in fact, the shape is going to come together when I cut it with the die that matches this image. So you really won't be able to see the pot shape until it's been cut. And I want to create a bit of a shine just to give the illusion of the glaze on the pottery, which this is obviously trying to replicate this paper. Oh, and guess what I have left upstairs? My heat tool. Oh, you put it there. Oh, thanks, Naz. On the table. Cool. There you go. Let me just plug that in. Thanks, Naz. I do have another one somewhere, but let's not go rummaging for that right now. Oh, okay, here we go. All right, so what I'm going to do is heat this, and you'll see it will come up really shiny, and it will start to look a bit like pottery glaze. It's very cool. Hi, if you've just joined us. The other end. Yes, I'm not sure if you can see that very clearly, but when I get the die that matches that image, it's going to cut out around that shape, and yeah, it does feel shiny. It feels like a glaze already. So I've got dies for each of these shapes all ready to go. I've also got a die for the gold specialty paper, which I will use. It's quite a fun one to use. So let me just pop all these on the one cut, the one run through, so it's nice and quick. Because we're using our large Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, we can actually fit all of these dies on the one platform. So this one's quite intricate. It actually folds in, and it does like a fan shape. So it's quite a beautiful, die. Sort of almost reminds me of feathers. I don't know, it's got a bit of an Egyptian feel actually because of the clay pots of this stamp set. I imagine, papyrus and feathers and clay pots and things you might find in an Egyptian tomb. Even the wicker baskets and things like that, they're sort of replicated in that artwork, which is gorgeous. So yeah, you can see you've got a die for each of these. And this one I'm going to just cut. This definitely reminds me of a feather. Isn't that beautiful? I'm just going to cut that out of the vellum, which is going to look really delicate on the project. It's not going to take up too much visual real estate, and you will be able to sort of appreciate the shape of it without it overpowering the other elements on the card. So I'm just going to run all of those through, all 5, super quick. And then I think we're actually done with our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine for this card. We have a punch here that we're going to use for our greeting. So there's my pot. Now when I hold it up in the light, you can see that glaze is looking a little bit shiny on there. And there is my other pot. Well, actually that looks more like a basket, that one. I'm going to put some of the thread on there too. This is the feather, which is gorgeous. And that was Pecan Pie, the ink that I used for that shape. And here is our larger leaf, which is absolutely stunning. Now I should say I got the idea for this project from one of my swaps from the incentive trip. Now, I'm required to say that only 1% of demonstrators worldwide earn the incentive trip, so I'm allowed to post this video. But yes, from the incentive trip, I got one of my swaps, and it was a 3D swap. She hadn't put it inside a frame, but she definitely created a wall piece, a wall hanging that you could use for home decor. And everything was sort of dimensional on the project. So what the person had done, I can't remember her name, I'm sorry, I'll try and post it underneath when I go back through my swaps and find the details. But she had bent these leaves because there's actually a fold line in the middle. I don't know if you can see that. Sorry, I was holding that out of view. And then, yeah, and that really adds to that 3D effect on that element. All right. So the other thing that I'm going to do is I will also stamp a greeting, and I'm going to use a punch to punch that out. And the greeting it's really gorgeous. It's from the stamp set. So we have a stamp set and dies, the earthen textures. It's a bundle, it's 10% off bundle. And this was the one that I really, really liked. You are proof that there is good in the world. It's got some really nice greetings. It's like, thank you. Mainly thank yous and appreciation type. But you could change the greeting, definitely. You could use another stamp set. These images are just so gorgeous. They really are. Lots of fun to play with. All right, so now I'm trying to find there it is. The frame that I just made. All right, so let me grab the pretty peacock again, and I'm going to just stamp that greeting down there, and then I will grab this punch, which does fit quite well. And I can't remember what this punch is called. Do you remember what this punch is called, Ness? My assistant will look it up for me because I can't remember. It's got the hole and it's got the slit, and it's really versatile. It fits a lot of our greetings, so I use it a lot. I should know what the name of it is, but it has escaped me. There you go. These things happen. All right. So I can see that I am now up to the assembly part. I'm going to snip some of these stems off because they will be a bit long for my projects. They're sort of sitting down a little bit low. Sorry, for my images, they're sitting down a little bit low in the frame. So I don't want them to kind of be too tall. This one's going to hide behind here. And I'm just arranging them just so I know how they're going to go. Yep, that's looking good. All right, so what I will do now is grab my frame, and I can already see that I might need to add a few glue dots. So let me grab those. And just a little trick when you're making this frame, sometimes if it's not sticking together as well as you would like it, you can just stick a tiny little glue dot underneath those corners there and press it down, and that will sort of hold it together at that point. So the glue will help, but the glue dots actually finish it off. The idea is you don't want to have a gap in those corners, so just press it together, pinch it together so that you get rid of those gaps, and pop a glue dot in each of the corners.
Label me fancy.
Label me fancy, thank you, Ness. So that one is called Label Me Fancy. I will have those details underneath my video when I post it on YouTube. You can click on any one of those items and it takes you straight to my online store, which is kind of handy. So if you like that stamp set or that punch that you see, it takes you straight to the store where you can add it to your cart, which is kind of handy. All right. So there you go, there is my frame. I'm going to get rid of that little mark in a second. That's with my adhesive remover, I'll do that. But let me show you how I pop these elements into the frame, because we're at the assembly stage now. I'm going to add a few of the glue dots, not the glue dots, the dimensionals, I should say, to the back of these pots, and that's going to adhere it to the project, but it's also going to help secure the branches and the stems of those fronds that I'm putting in. So I'm peeling off the backing, and then I'm just going to come in and adhere. This one needs to be a little bit lower. That's the feathery one, that's the vellum. And then this one is a little bit taller, but again, I'm just going to sit it so it's sitting just in the top of the pot there, so you don't actually see the stems at all. And I just wanted to make them as short as possible, so I had a little bit more wriggle room. And that pot is going to go in there. See how you can see that lovely glow, that lovely shininess of that stamp. I love the texture on there, both in the pattern of the paper as well as the glaze that I've put on with the clear embossing powder. I think that looks awesome. All right, we're going to just put about 4 of these, and whoops, and I'm going to put one in the middle, and that's going to capture the bottom of that fan. I'm going to call it a fan because that's what it reminds me of. It's just gorgeous, isn't it? The gold looks just so opulent, and it's got a lot of texture on there anyway, so it will it will definitely, it blends very nicely, let's say, with the Designer Series paper in this suite. It's sort of like it's meant to go. So that's going to go there. So I'm sort of keeping everything over to the left. And for my greeting, I'm also going to pop some dimensionals behind the greeting, which says, "You are proof that there is good in the world." I really like that one. I think I know who I'm going to give this to too. Just getting all of those backings off the dimensionals, and that's going to sit just in that top right hand corner there, so that it's sort of off to the side a little bit. And then I've got some of these rustic metallic adhesive back dots, and I'm going to grab 2 of the small ones. I'm going to use my scissors. You could use your take your pick tool. I'm going to put one either side, so it sort of looks like they're brads holding it on there. And that's it. I'm going to bring in my original one because I'll get the smudges off the other one in a second. But quick and easy gift idea. If you like sharing stamping with others and you want to get together with friends, you can all start collecting your backing sheets from your Designer Series papers and have a go at making these. All of the details will be down the bottom on my YouTube video, but that was a very quick how-to, and I'll be uploading this onto my Facebook page as well. Let me flip the camera back around and whoops. There we go. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you get a chance to do something creative. And as I said, why not give this a go? It's super easy. And the only measurement you have to remember is 2 centimeters, and you're done. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye.